Welcome to the Marvelous Moms Club podcast. Discover yourself, break out of mediocrity, and become the mom you've always aspired to be. Here's your host, Kirsten Tyrell.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Marvelous Moms Club. My guest today, I was just telling her, this is like 2 years in the making. That's a long time to wait for somebody to be on. Like, what are you, a famous person or something? Like, you just have so many commitments that it just took forever for you to grace us with your presence.
What can I say? I'm a hot ticket. What can I say?
You really are. You guys, this is probably one of the few friends I have left from my Periscope days who has not been on my podcast yet. But we're breaking that streak tonight because she's here. The amazing Erin Wilkins is now an official member of the Marvelous Moms Club.
You're so sweet. Thank you for having me. Yeah, it has. It's been like 2.5 years. I can't believe we're doing it. I'm excited we're doing it. It's been a long time coming.
But we need to get to know you. We need to hear your background. We have to everybody has to fall in love with you the way I love you. So let's start with basics. How many kids do you have? Ages, stages, where are you at in mommyhood?
So I have a stepdaughter who's 9, and that's a whole issue, but she's with us some of the time, and some of the time she's not with us, obviously. Mm-hmm. And then my firstborn is Brielle. She is 5. Capri is 3, and Bennett just turned, he's almost 9 months.
Oh, my gosh.
5, 3, 9 months, and a 9-year-old.
Wow. So it's a full-time, you're in the full-time trenches, you know?
Yeah.
There's all these different phases when it's hard, but I feel like this one is the most physically trying time of motherhood, right? Because you've got a baby,
yes.
Your sleep is all messed up, you've got a toddler. There's just a lot of adjustment in that stage of mom life.
It is so physically demanding. It's like endless amounts of energy are required, and just staying on top of things, and little kids just are so busy. But I love this stage. It is my very favorite. I mean, I'm hoping when they're older I'll be saying that. Yeah. I'm hoping I'll be saying that about every stage, but I love this stage of motherhood so much.
I'm sure you'll say that about every stage, because from what my mom says, it just gets more and more fun. Because I remember being sad when my babies would grow out of a stage. Like, we're not going to do that till the next baby. Or if it's the last baby, it's like, we're never going to do that again. And she was always like, it's just going to keep getting more and more fun, because then they're going to do this, and then you get to experience this. So, and with that attitude, you'll be good.
Totally. I think every stage is so fun, but I will always miss the little babies for sure.
Yep, absolutely. And then maybe by the time, I don't know, that's like the hard thing about having your babies close together and then being done young is then you have a long time to wait until you have grandbabies, right? Like, we have a long time.
No. Yeah, hopefully we have a long time.
If we do our jobs,
better have a long time. Yes.
So you're a registered nurse. We need to tell everybody a little bit of that background. But you are not currently practicing as a nurse. You're just kind of using all of that background. So
yes.
How long, what area of nursing did you do?
So I have been I've been a nurse for, has it been almost 10 years? No. Yeah. Almost 10 years now. But I worked in the hospital for 4 years before I had my first baby, and then I decided to stay home full time. But I worked in a neurology and physical and medical rehabilitation unit. And so it was a lot of patients there were there long term, because they were coming there to learn how to function again. Patients who had strokes or really traumatic brain injuries, or been burned, or had amputations, or, what else? Just all kinds of things that required them to rehabilitate medically. And so I love that about it, because we got to really know patients and their families. Some of them were there for months before we'd send them home. And then the neurology side of things, that was a lot more patient turnover. Patients were only there for shorter periods of time, but I really, I love that too. So I got to know that neurology and stuff pretty well, which was cool. Yeah, it was a good job. Mm-hmm.
So, and I feel like even though you haven't been practicing as in having a job, I feel like you've really kept that knowledge. I feel like you've still honed it, that you really do provide a lot of good education to people around you. Do you find, I think I asked you this before, but you find that people are coming to you a lot for questions just because you're a nurse? Do you feel like that's
I
going to be your life mission forever?
you know what? I do feel that way. And honestly, educating is one of my favorite things. And I mean, I am not a know-it-all. I don't know it all by any means, but what I do know, I'm happy to share with people. And I just, even in the hospital as a nurse, that's like in nursing school, it's like one of your main jobs is to educate patients. And so I've loved carrying that part on, and it's helped me still feel like I'm immersed in that world a little bit because I get to teach people, and I love that about it for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I love that about you. And like I said, you've taught me things for sure. I'm sure I have a notebook somewhere that has notes from Erin Wilkins. The
Oh my
other thing,
goodness.
let's go on a little tangent here. The other thing that I have learned from you that I don't even think I have written down anywhere I would know where to find it, but I have to tell you a funny story. My cousin was making cookies the other day. I don't even know if she posted it to Insta stories or what, but she used to follow you on Periscope too. I don't think she ever went live, but she followed, and she would follow whoever I invited her to follow. And she had Erin Wilkins chocolate chip cookie recipe. I could see it like written, and I was like, this recipe is going to forever live, like across
It
kitchens,
is.
across America, across the
I
world.
swear,
I'm sure there's
I get so many people asking me for that. Like so many. I swear that's the thing I'm going to be known for is like cookies and Diva cups and like home births. Like those are my things. It's like
if you were to brand yourself, it would just be cookie making,
Yes.
Diva cup loving, natural birth advocate. There you
Oh
go.
my God.
There you go.
Yep. That's it. Honestly, that is my legacy on the internet for sure.
Well, I love it. We're going to list out your recipe here in the show notes, right? Like you're going to send that to me and we're going to share it with everybody.
Yes, I would love to. It's got a secret
You
ingredient.
probably could spout it off.
I
Perfect.
probably could. We make it a lot over here.
I feel like once upon a time, I probably could have spouted it off because you made it with us watching in your kitchen a couple of times at least.
I remember that. I totally forgot about that until now. Oh my goodness. Those were the days. Those were so fun.
I'll never forget.
Late night. Yeah.
So let's talk about the other part of motherhood and life that you really are passionate about because you just touched on it, and that is natural birth. You had the most beautiful delivery of your most recent baby, your little boy, and I don't know anybody who can watch that and not be like, I want to have 400 babies and I'm not using medication. Now, this is a no judgment zone. I'm a medicator. I am. But watching that, I was like, that is so powerful. And I feel like it's so much about your mindset and about your strength and the decision that you make ahead of time. So, of course, you guys can do whatever you want with your babies. We're not here to judge. But I do want you to talk about, why you're so passionate about it, how you decided because you have a background in the medical field, what made you kind of decide to go natural with your babies?
Yes, I love it. And absolutely, like you said, this is 100% a no judgment zone. I mean, I received a lot of negative criticism and judgment when I first decided to have a home birth. And so I know what that's like. And I, in no way, I think as long as you are making a conscious decision and having the birth that you want and how you want it to look, then there's no wrong way to do it. But for me, so it does go back to nursing school and just learning a lot about birth and seeing births in the hospital and learning about the birth process and how amazing and fine-tuned that is. And I just felt like I wanted to experience it the way it was intended. Maybe a higher power had hand in that. I don't know, probably, because I think it's such an amazing experience. But I just really wanted to experience that in its like raw form, how our bodies were designed to experience it. And so when I got pregnant, I was considering my options, and I just felt like doing it at home was the best chance for me to have that experience. And I made sure that I felt good about it and that my pregnancy that I was a good candidate for it. And, I asked my midwives all the hard questions because I had seen, births go wrong in the hospital and different things. And being a nurse, I knew what could happen. And so I wanted to make sure I was making the right decision, and I felt good about it the whole time. And so I ended up having my first one at home, and it was such an amazing experience. And then since then, I haven't wanted to do it any other way. I have a friend who actually had 5 home births 5, and then her 6, she decided to go into the hospital for an epidural. And I was like, girl, I get it. Like, it is hard. It's so hard. So again, just going back to no matter how you birth. But my one thing I'm a huge advocate for is just educating yourself. There's so many decisions when it comes to birth. Like, there's so many decisions, and I want moms to feel empowered in their decision making, and that they're having the experience and that they want, and that they can play a role in that, and they deserve to have the birth that they want, however that looks for them. And so I'm a huge advocate for just educating yourself on all the different interventions and your different options, and just making sure that you have the experience you want, to the best of your ability. So I think birth is such an empowering experience, and I want women to experience that the way they want to. So.
Well, and that's something you really said you wanted to share here too. Guys, Erin can share so many different things. I'm telling you, she's just interesting. She's got a different background than maybe everybody else, and we all do. We're all different. We're not all like cut from the same mold. But
totally.
It's really hard to narrow down what I even wanted you to share, because I read through everything that you submitted on your form, and I'm like, well, we'll touch on that for like 2 minutes. We'll touch on that for 4 minutes.
It is classic me, because it's like I'm like the jack of all trades, master of none, because I just have my hands in a million different things. And even when I was filling it out, I was like, but I want to talk about this, but then there's this, but like, what do I focus on? It's like, it's like a daily struggle for me to just focus on one thing, I swear. But
it's fine.
That's just who I am.
Fine. And I wouldn't agree that you're a master of none. I feel like you're a master of 3 things, remember? Like chocolate chip cookies, the Diva cup, and natural birth.
Totally. I am a master of those 3, that's for sure.
But really, at the end of the day, everything that you're passionate about sharing all really does tie back to helping mothers, women, feel very, very empowered. And I think the reason that you are, the reason that you have authority that you can do this is because you have the power to educate. And education, knowledge is really, truly power. And when you understand things, when you know all of your circumstances in any facet of motherhood, then you feel stronger and you feel more willing and prepared to show up. And I know a lot of people, wouldn't you say 99% of moms have a baby and they have absolutely no idea what they're going to do. There's beyond the birth plan. You're like, I'm in it to figure it out as I go.
Yeah.
And there's a few who they figure out they're going to do ahead of time, but it's very, very rare. So we need you. Yes. We need you to kind of be our little digital education guide to get us through this, because there's a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions.
There are so many. Oh my goodness. And I love it. You know what? Yes, I always say education, you have to educate yourself. It's so important. Every little decision. Take the time to really study not just one side of the issue, whatever it is, because there are some like hot topics out there where you can find, a wide variety of information on, but study both sides, and then really I think it's so important that you study out both sides of anything that you want to do and any decision you have to make. And then ultimately you have to go with your gut. So you educate yourself, and then you make your decision based on your gut. And I think that if you're doing that, you'll never be wrong. So
yeah, I love that.
That's kind of, empowering. I would say if I had one mission, if I had to pick, it would be empowering moms. I just think that we have to feel confident in the decisions we're making,
Well, because it's easy in any facet of life to have a lot of conviction, make a decision, and then second guess yourself. And with parenting, you, for so many reasons, you can't get away with that, because when little tiny people are watching you, they will notice any sign of weakness, any sign of second guessing, and they're going to pounce on it. And also, a lot of the decisions you make as a mom are quick. They're really fast decisions. And so the more confident you feel in all these scenarios, the better. So yeah,
totally.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
So I do, just because you brought it up, and I did touch on it a little bit earlier in the call, I do want to have you share your near drowning experience and really how it shaped you into a different person.
I would love to. So yeah, that is a story for sure. I'm happy to share it. I don't talk about it often because it is actually, I think there's still some trauma there associated with it, and I'm still sorting through feelings for sure and how I feel about it. But I think there is, I think it changed me, and there's a lot to be learned for myself from the experience. And so, yeah, I would love to talk about it. So, it was, how long ago was it? It was October of 2016. So, a year and a half ago about. So my husband and I were vacationing in Kauai, and we always joke about this experience because he kind of played like the role of the devil in this. Like, you can go in the water, you're gonna be fine. Like, it's not, those waves aren't that big. Just do it, you'll be fine. But we pulled up to the ocean, and the waves were really big, and I had a really bad feeling about going in the water. And then so I said, you know what, I don't want to go in. I don't think this is a good idea. And like I said, I love him. Sorry, babe, for throwing you under the bus a little bit. But he's like, come on, babe, you'll be fine. It's not that big. Like, you can do it. So, okay, like, I'll just go in. I said, I'll just go in a little bit. So we went in the water, and what we found out later was I went in right where there was a riptide. So pretty quickly, it kind of sucked me out into the really big waves. And the waves weren't even just big. They were probably, I don't know, they were big. They were probably 8-7 foot waves above my head, just big waves.
Wow.
But they were really fast too. So it was like one after the other after the other, and there was really no break between them. And so I tried to start swimming back, but the waves just kept picking me up and dropping me and picking me up and dropping me. And I got tired really, really quickly. And I was still getting pulled further out and just kind of right in that section where the waves are really big. And I started struggling to swim, and I would get pushed under the water and kind of tumbled by a wave, and then I would come up, but I would only get half of a breath. And then the next wave would pick me up and drop me. And so it was like every time I was coming up, I was getting half of a breath. And I started getting really dizzy. And at one point and this was, I don't know the time frame, because, when you're experiencing something like that, it feels like forever. But it was really probably only a couple minutes. And I could see the lifeguards on the shore, and I was like, don't they see that I'm struggling? Like, I couldn't understand why they didn't see me struggling out there. But I started getting dizzy, and then things started to go black under the water. And before you pass out, you kind of see spots. I don't know if you've ever passed out, but you kind of see stars a little bit.
Yeah, I've gotten to that point. So that's as far as I've made it.
So I couldn't breathe, and I was like, I'm going to pass out. And I'm in the middle of the waves just getting rocked. And I was terrified. I was under the water. This is all probably like 10 seconds. I don't even know, but I was under the water, and my girls, their little, like, Capri was probably, how old was she? She was like 1.5, and Brielle was 3. And I just pictured them, and I pictured them like playing, and I pictured them, growing up through high school and getting married and having babies. And I just thought, oh my gosh, like, I'm not going to be there for this. Like, I can't believe I did this to them and to me. It was so scary, and that fear was so real. And I said a prayer. I'm a religious person, and I believe in prayer, and I believe in God. And I said a prayer, and I just said, please, Heavenly Father, help me. That's all I said. And I wish I could go back and relive it. I mean, not relive that, but I wish I could go back and view it as a spectator, because it doesn't make sense to me how I got out of that situation. I was so far from the shore, and the water was deep. I never once was able to feel the sand. And I was seconds from away from passing out. But I said that prayer, and I felt the sand underneath me. And it literally felt like someone like grabbed me and like pulled me towards the shore. Like, it just felt like my body kind of launched towards the shore. And somehow I was still in the bigger waves, but I was able to get back to the shore to where I could stand. And I was yelling to my husband to come help me, because I was so dizzy, and like I'd swallowed so much water I couldn't really walk or talk or breathe very well. I just felt really disoriented, and I sat on the shore for a long time just processing, like, what just happened to me. It was very traumatic. And I think the most traumatic thing for me was that fear and those feelings that I felt of missing my life, missing my girls' lives with them and them not having a mom, that really just really terrified me. And
Wow.
it changed me. I mean, it took me a while to kind of process, and like I said, I'm still processing, but I feel like it has taught me so much about not taking 1 second for granted, not even one, because it was a minute I was on the shore, and then a minute later I was in the water about to drown, I felt. And 1 minute, things can change, and that's it. That's all it takes. And you could be gone, or someone you love could be gone. And so you have to just cherish every single second, because you never know. And you don't want to live in fear. Don't do that. But you just have to just soak up every second with those babies and with your loved ones, because you never know when it's going to be your last. And it really taught me that. And I think about that experience every day. And everyone knows this. And, we hear stories like this all the time. But for me, it was very real. And it just taught me to do that. And I think about that every day. And it helps me to be a more patient mom and to just remember what's important and to prioritize them, because they are the most important thing to me. So
wow,
that's the story.
Now that I have tears just streaming down my face, I thought I knew that story. I think I thought I knew that story, but I didn't know that story because that hadn't even happened yet when I met you, when I knew you online. So
Yeah,
I'm really glad
no,
you shared it, because it is it's pretty recent, and it feels like it's pretty raw, but those are such incredible experiences, and I feel like they have probably given you even more conviction, just like you were just saying, to really live, and you never know when it could be your last minute. And I think that's such a powerful thing that I'm sure has made you feel empowered even more so as a mother, to never take a single second for granted. So not to
totally.
sum
And
up
it's helped
every
me to
beautiful
just,
thing you just said.
yeah, I mean, it's helped me to just let the things go that don't matter. And I was like this before. Truthfully, I was a mom who soaked up as much time as possible with my babies, and I didn't stress about the little things if I didn't have to. But I think maybe as I've gotten more kids, it's harder to do that. You're busier, and it's just a reminder to me to just let the things go that don't matter and to just remember what's important. So, yeah, I mean, we all have experiences that teach us big lessons, and maybe that was just something I had to go through. I'm not sure, but I'm sure glad that someone saw fit to keep me around for a while. So,
Yeah, well, me too, because now you're here to empower thousands more moms to feel empowered. So I'm really, really glad that you made it through that experience. That's crazy. That's so crazy. The world without Erin
yeah.
Wilkins would be it'd be a little bit darker. So,
Oh, you're so sweet.
wow.
Thanks.
Okay, I don't even know how we bounce back from that. How do we even get back onto like a note that even makes sense with what we're here to share with everybody?
I'm not sure, girl. You're the leader, so take it away.
Yeah, no pressure. Just take the lead. No big deal. No big deal. Okay, but you're not off the hook yet. I know you're so excited to answer this question. What makes you a marvelous mom?
I've been thinking about this question all day. And honestly, it's hard for me to answer because, like I said earlier, I feel you don't want this to be a 10-minute long answer. I know, it's fine, but you're going to get one.
Go for it.
So
You can.
I don't feel like I'm really marvelous in any one area. I feel like I do a lot of things really well and really good. And I think that is kind of the sum of a marvelous mom, is knowing what you do good and when you need to say sorry and when you need to try better, but also the things you do good. There are so many of them that we all do really well. We love our babies.
Yeah.
We take care of them. We spend time with them. We play with them. I'm really good at just getting down on the floor and playing with them.
So you're that
you
mom.
do.
You're the 1 in a million mom who actually likes to sit on the floor and play with your babies.
Oh my goodness. I love to just sit on the floor and give them Superman rides and wrestle with them. I love it. I think it's so fun. I love just laughing with my babies. But I think it's just the sum of all the things that we do really good, and then knowing when we need to do better and saying sorry. All those things combined are what make us marvelous moms, all of us, myself included.
Yeah.
But, any one of you, I think, is what makes us great.
Yeah, and I would expect nothing less than for you to answer for every mom out there and what makes them marvelous, because That's who you are. You want everybody
We are
to
all
feel
marvelous.
amazing.
Yep.
We
all
truly
are
are.
amazing. Truly, we are. And our kids
Yep.
were sent to us because we are the best moms for them. And all they want is a happy mom who loves them. At the end of the day, that's what they want. And if you can do those two things, I know the loving part comes more easily. The happy part should hopefully be easy. Then you're doing a great job, and you're marvelous in my books.
I love that. I love that so much. Okay, guys, stay tuned. She'll be back next month. If you guys have questions, email them to marvelousmomsclub@gmail.com, and in the subject line, put question for Nurse Erin, and we will try and answer as many of your questions. And also, if you guys want to ask questions after this episode, based on anything we talked about, or if you want to get started fast, you can post your question in the Marvelous Moms Club Facebook group, and Erin will come on there a couple times and answer your questions. So
Yes,
I think it's going to be great.
It's
gonna be
I'm
really
excited. Thanks for having
too.
me. Thank you so
Of
much.
course. Absolutely. And to the rest of you guys, have a marvelous day. We'll see you on the next episode.